Welcome to the Back 9 Six-Pack with Mitch and Justin. Let's roll. All right, welcome to episode 59 of the Back 9 Six-Pack. I am Justin. This is the second of my solo shows as Mitch is still playing John Dutton out in Yellowstone on his trip. I am live from Surfside Beach here in South Carolina, so we're both officially on vacation. So we're just patching this thing together. We'll both be back next week, thankfully. Looking forward to getting both of us back here. So I'm on vacation, which means we officially survived a car ride with kids. It's about 10 hours down here. We had 3 kids, a dog. Any stress adder we had. We hit a stretch where we went 4 miles in an hour and a half. Just brutal. And I found myself riding the emotional roller coaster with the kids. One moment we're all happy listening to music. Next moment we're all ready to rip our heads off. So we survived. We made it down here 13 hours later for a 10-hour trip. A couple longer stops than we wanted to, but we're here. And first day, I get left with the kids for about an hour on the beach, and we're already sunburned. I'll take full blame. We did not reapply. I did not reapply. It was brutal. Brutal look for the first day of vacation, being sunburned. Thankfully, we had some crappy weather today. No beach for us today. No pool for us today. So it ended up working out. But yeah, sunburn on the first day. You know, it's like drinking too much on the last day. They're both bad decisions, and I don't advise it at all. But we did play some golf today. We got out to Caledonia, which is actually in Pawleys Island. It's about an hour south of Myrtle Beach, about 30 minutes south of Surfside where we're at. Part of a 2-course combo. Most people know True Blue, which I've heard is unbelievable. We didn't play that. They're air raiding this week. They're closed for the week, or probably be our second course we're playing. We played the other course, Caledonia, and I've heard nonstop about how great it is. And I was a little worried about how great everybody talked about it. That the bar was going to be set so high that it was never going to live up to that hype. Specifically because we played it this morning, last night, tons of rain. Actually, down by the course, we're driving in and there's branches and trees falling over. They had a supercell roll through last night. No tornado, but they apparently had like 65 mile an hour straight line winds. Just stuff everywhere. So already going in, it's like, okay, it's wet. It's going to be wet. There's going to be, crap everywhere because they had a pretty hefty storm roll through last night. But our starter gets in and he goes, even with it wet and even with, the storms we had last night, stuff all over the course, he's like, it's still going to be one of the best courses you play ever. And it's definitely going to be the best course you play down here. And we'll call this Myrtle Beach metro area, where all hundreds of golf courses are. And it lived up to the hype. It was one of the cooler setup golf courses that I've ever played. I think every hole was different, which we don't have a lot of those these days. Tons of waste bunkers. They didn't have any actual bunkers. Everything was a waste bunker, which I do enjoy. And it was tight. It was pretty tight. You had to kind of be on your game. You hit a variety, and I always enjoy a course where you hit a variety of golf clubs off the tee. It's not driver every time. It's not laying up every time. You can kind of pick and choose. You don't have. There's some holes you can take a chance at driver. Always like a good golf course like that. With Caledonia, it was all that and more. Great marsh views, inlet views, especially coming in on 18. 18 was we actually teed off the back first. So 18 was our ninth hole, and it was an incredible view hitting back up against the clubhouse for your approach shot. One of the cooler finishing holes I think I've ever seen. Just the whole setting was unbelievable. You got the mossy oaks, and man, it was incredible. It lived up to the hype. Like I said, I thought the bar was going to be set way too high. I've heard so many good things from so many people. And typically when I come down here, I'll stay in North Myrtle Beach or even in southern North Carolina. So taking the trip down to these courses, usually not in the cards, not wanting to drive, hour 10, hour 20 minutes to play these golf courses. So now that I'm down here, decided we're going to play Caledonia. I wish we could play True Blue. We've got Pauly's Plantation on deck Wednesday. And I've heard nothing but good things about Pauly's Plantation as well. But yeah, so we're down here. We're going to play these southern courses while we got a little bit shorter of a drive coming from Surfside. Other than that, I played some fantastic golf today for a course that I've never seen. No range balls. Range was closed, obviously, because of the weather. Played really well. One over on the front. Didn't kind of back and forth. Couple missed greens. Didn't really figure it out until we got to 11, and we really started to figure things out. I think I birdied 12. So it would actually be 3, and then I birdied 7 and 8 coming in, and had a good look on 9. Just lipped out, and but yeah, she ended up shooting 68 today. Game feels like it's coming around, a little more consistency possibly. I was talking to someone on the Wednesday night league, and I started to really focus on the outcomes rather than the process itself. And I actually went back probably last Friday and watched the Scotty Scheffler episode from the first season of Full Swing, and where he talks about the process and not the outcomes, and really trying to refocus on that. And and today was a perfect example. It was just trying to figure things out with the swing, and knew that as soon as I kind of was finding something, that it was eventually going to work out, and it did. So I'm excited about that. I do have a tournament coming up here. We've got our Cincinnati Met coming up. It's 2 days of qualifying, 64-man match play. Again, expectations are changing a little bit, but we're not trying to focus on the outcome. We're going to try to do everything that we should do leading up to it, and knowing that the outcome that we're looking for is going to come without focusing on the actual outcome. So looking forward to that. Expectations are definitely higher this year. I think in the beginning of the year we did our goals, and it was to win, not only make it to match play, but win a match in match play this year. And I think where we're heading is definitely on track for something like that. And again, it's kind of like any other sport. It's all matchups, right? Course you're playing, person you're playing, really the physical side of things too, after playing 2 rounds and then hopping into, a match play event is definitely on the difficult side of things. So, but we got that coming up. Before we move on, please like us on Instagram, follow us on Instagram, like our page on Facebook. If you could hit that subscribe button on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcast at, we greatly appreciate that. Leave us a 5-star review. That helps us out too. Like I say, you can leave a 5-star review and trash us in the comments, but just leave a 5-star review. So, all right. We had the Memorial this past week, and I was there on Thursday and Friday. Couple big takeaways. So Thursday we're out there. First thing I noticed in looking at the tee sheet, and I knew this going in, it's an elevated event. It's a 70. I think they had 73 people this year. I hated it. This is now our, I'm going to say 4th or 5th elevated event of the season. Obviously, I didn't go to the other ones, but I will tell you the viewing experience from as far as a fan that is going to an elevated event, it is not as good. It's nowhere near as good. There's a lot less golf played. Obviously, it's half the field. Um, but the biggest thing is you know, where you were at the golf course, what felt like all day, these guys teeing off the last tee times at 2 o'clock, you're kind of off you're off the course and you don't want to stick around because then everybody's on the back nine. You're kind of wanting to go home by like 4:30 or 5, and I hated it. Um, felt like felt like a half a tournament. Yeah, I just didn't like it. Didn't like it at all. We still had fun. We got out Thursday. We sat on a couple holes, watch some of the big guys come through. Sat behind 14 with cool feature that they added this year. I haven't been over to 14 in a couple years. Short par four down the hill. Guys have wedges into the green. But when guys were hitting their approach shots, it told you how far they were, and then once they got on the green, it told you how close they were to the pin. So we're back there gambling. It was a lot of fun. We got one of the marshals involved, and he's back there laughing, helping me trying to set lines and things like that. So it was a blast. So we still had fun, but I will tell you from someone that's gone to the memorial for probably 10 years straight now. It felt like half the tournament that it's been in the past. And um, I truly, truly hope at this point that we find a way and figure out a way that that we can fix this, because it's not much different on TV, other than, there's a limited cut and all that. But I can certainly tell you, as a fan going to the tournament, it is nowhere near as good, with, a 73-man event kicking off on a Thursday. But a couple takeaways, when we went out there, we went and sat on Thursday. We watched Rory hit golf balls on the range, warming up. Max just happened to be like right next to him. We'll start with Rory. Watching him hit balls on the driving range, it blows my mind. This guy doesn't have 25 majors. I don't. It doesn't make any sense. Um, Guys, his peers are on the range watching him hit golf balls because it is that good. It's far and away better than everybody else. And it was funny. Matt Kuchar ends up walking up, and he's sitting there, and he just stops and watches Rory hit golf balls for like 15 minutes. It is that good. Truly amazing that he doesn't win more than he has, and the fact that he still feels he's on this gigantic major slump. And we can maybe talk about that here in a couple minutes, but gigantic major slump that he's on. 10 years now, and it doesn't make it. Then we, like I said, Max was sitting right there. Max's range session was much more enjoyable from a fan standpoint. First off, his swing is incredible, and I'm not taking anything away from that. It's he's got one of my favorite swings on tour, but unlike Rory, who was literally hitting everything on a rope, Max had some skinks. And it's so funny, his reaction, and this is why I think he's a fan favorite. He just starts laughing, like, doesn't get mad. He's not freaking out, like, oh my gosh, like, what if I do this on the course? He's just like, every time he hit a couple snap hooks, hit a couple like squiggly right tee shots with driver, hit a couple like really thin irons, and him and his caddy were just sitting there laughing, which was pretty enjoyable to watch. Seeing a guy that's playing on that level hitting, realistically not having a very good range session and just laughing about it. And I think we could probably all take a lesson. And I'd tell you, if you want to learn how to warm up or how to treat range sessions, like, just go watch those guys warm up. It is, I learned a ton just watching these guys. We all get, especially Max, like, we all get worked up. We're like, oh my God, I'm hitting the ball so terrible in the range. And then, that negativity kind of carries over the course. You got this guy that's going out playing for $20 million, and he's laughing as he's hitting skink shots on the driving range. So really, really cool, um, cool thing to do. And if you whatever term you get to next, I highly suggest going to the driving range at least for 15, 20 minutes and watching those guys. Now, um, on to the actual tournament. So Scotty gets revenge from last year after his absolute ball striking genius, where he just crushed everybody in ball striking last year, but found a way to lose it with his putter. Um, Sunday was it was pretty enjoyable to watch as far as watching Colin, watching him kind of go back and forth. Um, Scotty had a 4-shot lead. Colin just kept cutting into it. Scotty didn't really do anything great. But then, on 18, Scotty ends up draining kind of a 6-footer probably to take it. But it was fun watching two guys that good just go back and forth. We haven't had a ton of that this year. So maybe that's some of the benefit of an elevated event. You're almost guaranteed to get some kind of outcome like that where you have two heavyweights kind of duking it out on Sunday. But Scotty takes it, and honestly, this guy's, unless he gets arrested or has a baby, he's gonna win. It's pretty much what it comes down to this year. Um, Seems almost unstoppable at this point. And we'll get into Pinehurst here in a second, but I don't know how great of a course fit it is for him. But it doesn't seem like any course fits. Every course fits well for him right now. And it just truly just determines, if he's going to win or not, how his putter is, because the ball striking is always going to be there. So, but I thought Sunday was good TV for watching golf. I caught probably the last 12 holes. But man, did Muirfield show its teeth. I mean, this week, Thursday, Friday was extremely windy. Friday especially. Friday was really windy. But Sunday, these guys really, really struggled. I think it's due to a couple things. I think the course changes over the last 3-4 years play a big factor in that. The course, there's a couple tee boxes now. This course is very, very long, and especially when you throw in some wind, this course can be, even for these guys, pretty long. But then I think what you saw on Sunday after the rain earlier in the week started drying out a little bit, tougher pins. But man, these guys were grinding on Sunday. I think they said on the telecast, they're like, these guys are going to have to take Monday off because Muirfield was really, really giving these guys everything they can handle and more. But I enjoyed it. I definitely, as much as I love the Memorial, I would love to see a PGA go to Muirfield. I think it would be a perfect course for a PGA. Just kind of fits their mold for what they're looking for. Trying to stay around that 8 to 10 under mark. It's a tough but fair test, and I think we're going to see it. I don't know if Jack's going to allow it, but because essentially you're going to cancel the Memorial for the year, or maybe even push it back in the schedule, something. But I would love to see the PGA there as much as I do love the Memorial. But we had Victor in our one and done, and we were looking pretty good after Friday. I think he was -6, the second place behind Scotty, and then Saturday happened. Pretty much exactly what you expect out of Victor this year. Every time you think he has it figured out, something comes up and bites him. And Saturday happens. He completely blows it. He's 5 over, completely out of contention at that point going into Sunday. Then going into Sunday, he gets off to an okay start. Then bogeys 6, 7, and 8. But he did come back a little bit on the back nine. I think he birdied 14 and 15 to kind of get it back to +1. But he finishes like T21. I think it was like maybe 300 grand. Just not gonna do it for us. We need winners. So we're going to come back. I'm going to pick our one and done after we kind of talk about the U.S. Open and all that. But as far as this week goes for Memorial, no help from Victor. We really need to get on a run of winners here. Hopefully starting this week. So, but we'll move on. It is officially U.S. Open week and one of my favorite weeks of the year when it comes to professional golf or just golf in general. And I love the venue. We are back to Pinehurst number 2. This is their 4th U.S. Open they're going to host. They hosted in 99, 2005, and 2014, and then 2024. I had some fun kind of looking back on these past U.S. Opens here. One, because one of my favorite golf memories happened. So 99, we had Payne Stewart win. Still one of the longest, it is the longest putt ever made to win a U.S. Open on the final green. It was about 24 feet. Payne Stewart drains it on 18. Sadly, it was his last shot he ever hit in a U.S. Open. Unfortunately, when he passed away that I believe that year he passed away in a plane wreck. But that was one of my first very, outside of maybe Tiger Woods at Augusta winning for the first time as a kid, growing up watching golf. That was one of my vivid golf memories that I remember. Him, that fist pump and got the knickers on. Truly amazing memory from watching golf that I can remember as a kid. But that was 99. Then we had 2005. This is kind of the outlier in the winners that we've had at Pinehurst over the last 3 times we've had it here. This was the Michael Campbell year. Michael Campbell outlasts Tiger Woods. Gets his only PGA Tour victory. It was a U.S. Open, which is kind of incredible. Usually, we talk about guys winning the Open Championship or something, or the PGA is, their one and only victory on the PGA Tour. But Michael Campbell wins in 2005. Like I said, outlast Tiger. Tiger was right there coming down the stretch. And then 2014, some course changes. I believe they changed a lot of the greens around. They took all the rough out, and what we have today is what they said the original design is we have these waste bunkers with natural weeds and grass growing through them. We had Martin Keimer, who ends up winning a blowout victory. He won by 8 shots. And we're going to talk about that leaderboard in a second because we do have guys that are playing this week that were in that tournament in 2014. But, Martin Keimer made the course look easy. It was, I always remembered, I'm like, we had a champion at -9, not the U.S. Open way. Everybody loves a little bit of carnage. But he was the only one that really played the course well. I'm going to pull up the scoreboard here, but so he finishes at -9, 8-shot victory. There were only 2 other guys that were under par, which I don't remember. I did not remember that from the tournament. So the only 2 other guys that were under par were Eric Compton, and if you remember the story when he's the guy that had heart replacement. Really cool story. They both him and Ricky Fowler finished 1 under, and then after that, everybody else there was no one even. It was a gigantic group of guys name wise as far as that finished at T4 +1. Keegan Bradley, Jason Day, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, and Henrik Stenson all finished and rounding out the top 5 there at +1. But outside of Martin Keimer, I remember I was like, God, this course played easy because there was no rough, this and that. Not the case. So I don't know if I just didn't watch much of it or just took the -9 and kind of ran with it, but that was definitely not the case at all. Handful of 80s on the weekend here in 2014. But this is when I was doing my research for this, but this scoreboard was some notables from 2014. First off, the low am was Matt Fitzpatrick. Um, didn't know he played as an am in this tournament, but he finished T48 plus 11 to get the low am. Other notables that are playing this week that played in 2014. You heard all the guys at T4. You had Rory, he was T23. Jordan Spieth was T17 at plus 4. Um, Justin Rose, T12. Adam Scott was T9. He actually, if you remember us talking last week, he ends up getting into a playoff with Cam Davis at Springfield. They go back and forth. Adam Scott actually chips in. Cam Davis makes like a 20-footer to push it to another playoff hole. Cam Davis ends up winning that playoff, so which made Adam Scott an alternate. Well, Adam Scott is officially in the field. He is going to continue his major streak since 2001, so he'll be back. But he T9'd in 2014. But the scoreboard has some old names on here. You got Molinari, Kenny Perry. Some of these guys, this might have been some of their last majors they played in. But those are most of the notables that you're looking at that you're gonna see this year. Now, so those are the past tournaments that we've had at U.S. Opens. We've had at Pinehurst. So what's this year? I think after LACC, I think we're going to find a USGA that is looking to prove a point. Everybody complained, bitched, and moaned all last year about how easy LACC was, and I'm telling you, they are going to prove a point. And it's funny, we're already starting to, we're getting, we get reports usually about the rough in the U.S. Open or whatever it might be. But we've already got a comment, Wyndham Clark, today regarding the greens. So in his press conference today, someone asked him about the greens, and he said the greens are already borderline, and it's Monday. So I, for one, am pretty excited. Look, everybody likes carnage. I want it to be fair, but I don't want -9. I don't want I don't want double digits under. I don't want 62s. We had a pair of 62s last year. I don't want that. And I definitely think we're going to get a USGA that is going to prove a point and is going to essentially make an example of these guys. As bad as that sounds, maybe not putting that the proper way, but they're going to make an example of these guys. And so I'm looking forward to the greens. I'm interested to see how the waste areas hold up. Like I said, I don't remember it being those guys having too much trouble with those last time here. I do know that there are some really good areas in those waste areas, but there is also some like ferns and stuff like that you can get into that are probably going to be unplayables. Maybe even you might be able to advance it a little bit. I'm interested to see how those hold up. And I'm really, really, really hoping. I have not looked at the weather forecast, but I'm hoping that the weather holds off. There's no rain because I want to see this place play firm. I want to see it play fast, and I want to see it struggle. I think we deserve that after last year. So, now on to our one and done pick. You heard me read off a bunch of names talking about past champion or past people that played in 2014. Some very, very, I don't say heated discussions, some back and forth between me and Mitch in a text this evening. And, I think we were both pretty dead set that we're going to take a live guy, in this tournament with only really 2 chances left to take him. He first throws out Cam Smith, and I was like, don't hate it. It seems like a course he would play well at. Then he throws out Brooks, and I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I think I'm on the Brooks train. And then he kind of fought back over that. But then when I started doing some research and saw he finished fourth in 2014, I'm fully on the Brooks train. Mitch stuck to his guns, really wanted Cam Smith, but you know what? He's not here. So when Dad's away, the kids will play. Our official one and done pick for the U.S. Open for the race of the Mayo Cup is going to be Brooks Koepka, and I'm very much looking forward to cheering for him. I always cheer for him, but I'm looking forward to being at his mercy in the U.S. Open. But I think we're in good hands. Like Brooks's major record is well noted. I think he'll play even better if it's going to play that hard. I think it just lines up for him. He plays really really hard courses a lot better than everybody else. So I think we're in good hands. So that's our official pick, Brooks Koepka, and let's go Brooksy. All right, now we're gonna take it to the patio. Going to be a little different this week, but I was talking to somebody, kind of texting back and forth, and hey, we're on vacation, and got the kids down here, or whatever, and it brought up an interesting discussion that we ended up having over text, and we're going to have it on here. I'm going to kind of recap what we talked about. So the question that ends up getting posed, it's like, man, like, and this gentleman does not have kids. He's like, dude, how do you get alone time on vacation? Like, you got kids, wife, we're here with my parents, all tucked into a house. And my answer was like, it depends, right? You kind of have to scan out the situation. And what I mean by that is not every place has the same way you're going to get away just for a little bit of alone time. Whether a lot of times with kids, that's going to be in the morning. For whatever reason, I wake up extremely early on vacation. It doesn't make any sense. I get up with no alarm at like 6 a.m. I usually get up, I'm hitting snooze 3 or 4 times if I set an alarm for that time on a normal week. But on vacation, I'm getting up at 6 a.m. So typically going to be in the morning. But when I say it depends on where you're at, because it truly does. If you're on a cruise, there's a lot less places to get away, right? You're kind of stuck on a boat. If you're at a beach, maybe some more options, right? You might have some coffee shops to go to, walks. We actually have a golf cart, and I'll get into that here in a second. If you're where Mitch is at, like Jackson Hole, Wyoming, Yellowstone National Park, probably going to look a little different. And it may even be more difficult, right? So some places are definitely more difficult than others. This week, we have a golf cart. Like I said, I've been getting up at 6 o'clock. The first 2 mornings, get up, hop right in the golf cart, and drive down. I've found a couple coffee shops. Found one for Sunday morning, really, really good. Went to another place that turned out to have like these crazy good breakfast sandwiches. Stopped there. So on this trip, it's getting in the golf cart, going to get coffee. Even though we have a coffee maker, I'll still go get it. Get that like 15, 20 minutes of alone time. That we, kind of prep for the day, going to the beach and, kind of go. But that's kind of how I found that. Now I've had other vacations where, like I said, been on a cruise. My alone time came in the evening. I every night would go down to the casino, play some crabs, blackjack. Last cruise I was on, I met these group of guys from Alabama. Played craps with them every single night we were on the boat, which was a lot of fun. I've been on vacations where we're in a Great Wolf Lodge, right? And truly no escape there, but you just venture down to the bar that they have there for the parents, get a drink, kick it back, stress reliever. But yeah, So that's kind of how I find my reprieve, the 20 minutes of reprieve on a family vacation. Um, again, it's all different. You kind of have to feel it out when you get there. That's my best advice. Because not every place is the same. Not every beach is the same, right? Not where you're staying, like might not be in walking distance of some things. So my advice, feeling out, I'd say by day 2 or 3, you're probably going to have a pretty good idea what you're going to be able to do as far as like getting some alone time, um, and kind of getting away from everything just for a little bit. But that that pretty much does it for Patio Beers and this episode. Got a busy week on tap here. Again, vacation, as crazy as it sounds, a lot of times are busier than normal weeks. We are going to be playing golf on Wednesday. Like I said, playing Paulie's Plantation. Going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, heard a lot of good things about that course as well. And we're going to do pop stroke, which is Tiger Woods putt putt. Very much looking forward to that. Looks pretty cool. Walked by it today or tonight actually. Looks like Top Golf, but putt putt. They've got servers. I saw like at the turn, they had like a beer cart out there, which is pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to that and enjoying the rest of the time on the beach. But that'll do it. We will see you guys next week. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Back 9 Six Pack. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Back 9 Six Pack for all your content needs. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.